This is the Barbados Today morning news for Tuesday, October 3rd. Thank you for joining us. I am Mary-Claire Williams. Our top story this morning, workers at the Barbados Water Authority are back on the job today after coming out in support of striking workers at the Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation yesterday. CBC workers have been on strike since last Wednesday over a protracted pay dispute. And Labour Minister Dr. Esther Bayer-Sugu has invited the Barbados Workers' Union to a meeting on Wednesday morning in a bid to resolve the matter. But while the BWA employees are returning to work, their CBC counterparts will remain on strike pending the outcome of Wednesday's talks. BWU General Secretary Tony Moore says the union is being cautious as the state broadcaster has broken its promises to the workers.
The mood coming out of the meeting was one of definite disappointment and concern that an agreement would be reached and that parties then would go away, having reached an agreement, and then dishonor the very agreement that was made. So that is really where our members have deep concern, because it's the view that if that approach is one that is allowed in the case of the CBC, in the case of the Barbados Water Authority, then it is one that we might have to become used to going forward, and certainly for a union that would not be a comfortable position to be in.
A warning from social activist David Commission that Hyatt developer Mark Maloney's Vision Development Inc. could be wasting time and money if it proceeds with work on the controversial project before the High Court rules on the matter. The $100 million project is the subject of a legal battle between Commission on one side and Prime Minister Frundle Stewart as the minister responsible for town and country planning on the other. In mid-August, High Court Judge Sonia Richards reserved judgment after hearing arguments from both sides on Commission's suitability to challenge Stewart's decision to grant planning permission for the 15-story Hyatt-centric resort. Acting Prime Minister Richard Seeley told the DLP's lunchtime lecture on Friday that the project would get underway soon, but Commission says any work before the judge announces her decision could cost the developer.
It is a matter for Mr. Maloney and his company. If they want to take the risk of starting the construction process and spending money in carrying out the beginnings of a construction process, and then it turns out a few weeks down the road that the court makes a ruling that the permission that was given was wrongfully given and has to be withdrawn, it would mean that Mr. Maloney and his company would have wasted the resources spent on carrying out the construction. But it's entirely a matter for them.
Finance Minister Chris Sinckler says Barbados is not expected to achieve the 2% economic growth which was forecast at the start of the year. Sinckler says government's tight fiscal program has contributed to what is now expected to be between 0.5 and 0.7% growth. But he told reporters on the sidelines of the launch of the St. Michael Battle of the West Primary Schools quiz competition that the economy will continue to grow.
Our expectation is that growth will continue. Of course, because we have such a tight fiscal program, demand is going to be constrained. And once demand is constrained in an economy like Barbados, it is likely that growth is going to come back. We don't think that is going to be as significant as some people are pointing out, as much as 1 and 1.5%. We believe it would be about 0.5 to 0.7%. So we wouldn't get 2% growth as was originally predicted at the beginning of the year before there was this budget. We're likely to get anywhere between 1.5 to 1.7. I think that's where the central bank and the others are projecting it, but we'll wait and see how that comes out. In terms of the fiscal, as I said, we continue to monitor it. We seem to be on track, but we have to ensure that we keep the expenditures under control.
To news from the courts, a 47-year-old man from St. Philip has been ordered to pay $7,500 within 3 months after he was convicted of bigamy in March. Curtis Cadogan pleaded guilty to marrying Keisha Greenidge on August 25, 2012, even though he was still married to Ingrid Cadogan. Principal Crown Counsel Alliston Steele, who prosecuted the case, explained that the first wife was in the process of divorcing her husband, but the papers were never served on him as she was unable to locate him after he moved out of their marital home. Cadogan will be sentenced to 3 months in jail if he fails to pay the fine. 8 police officers are out on bail after appearing in court yesterday on assault charges. They are accused of assaulting Rashid King of Husbands Crescent, St. James, at the District E police station on July 1st, occasioning him actual bodily harm. The officers denied the charge when they went before Magistrate Wanda Blair in the Whole Town Magistrates Court. They were warned not to interfere with King. His lawyers are expected to serve the accused officers with a number of statements, including his medical reports, ahead of the court hearing into the matter on April 5th, 2018.
Who calling? Get your yams and potatoes. Wait, my girl, how you want to see you for long?
I can't. How you keeping? But you don't sell the nation paper no more.
But that paper ain't selling. This month now I stop selling that. Look, one time I would have make a little dollar on the Sunday sun. But when Sunday night, I still trying to get the weather there.
Well, you know you can't call that the Sunday sun no more. You're going to call that Sunset News. Call at no time that news stale.
People complain that them ain't got nothing in it to read and the price keep going up all the time. A woman abused me so sick the other day, telling me that she does read Barbados Today online for free. I can't take that abusing soul, so I switched to my potatoes and yams.
Well, let me tell you, if pork selling, you got to raise pigs. How much for the yams?
Oh, 75 cents a pound.
Well, that's cheaper than that stale news. Give me...
How much you want?
a pound.
Only a pound? Anyhow, these eating real good. Let me wrap them up for you. Come.
The Barbados Today, news you can trust.
Thank you for staying with us. We're back with news from the region. Trinidad and Tobago's Finance Minister Combe Imbert on Monday announced a number of taxes in his presentation of this year's budget. They are being introduced as the Twin Island Republic seeks to diversify its economy following declining revenue from the oil and gas sector. But speaking with CNC3 News following the presentation, the CEO of the Chamber of Commerce, Gabriel Faria, raised concern about the political will to improve the economy.
I think there's a term called the political will, and talking to an ex-minister, they talked about NAR, and the ex-minister told me, look what happened to NAR. And of course, they did the hard thing, and they lost the election. But as a country, and any political party needs to do the right thing for the country. Are we doing the right thing for the country? Are we, when you look at the state sector, public sector, are we really changing the business? Are we making it efficient, as you said? And I think that is where private sector is concerned, because they are made to bear the brunt. And what's happened in this economy is that private sector has been absorbing the cost, because in order to keep demand at some level, they are looking and saying, how can I absorb these costs? So when you look at profitability, they've dropped by 30–40% sometimes.
And finally, the secessionist leader of Catalonia is calling for international mediation in the region's dispute with Madrid. The call came a day after hundreds of people were injured as police fired rubber bullets to disrupt an independence referendum. Results showed voters had overwhelmingly backed independence in the referendum, which Spain has ruled illegal. But the Catalan leader says the vote was valid and must be implemented. That's news this morning. Remember, you can get more on our website, www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. We're on Izumi Media in bus terminals and Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also find us on Mix 96.9 FM. I am Mary Claire Williams. Have a good morning.